Right, so how's it going? Welcome back to another video on this channel, guys. And in today's video, of course, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail and whatever you want to judge it by, we are going to be discussing Emiliano Buendia and his move from Norwich City to Aston Villa in the Premier League in this transfer window. Said to be around 35 to 40 million pounds, and in my personal opinion, a really good deal for Aston Villa. What a signing this has turned out to be, and will turn out to be for them in the near future and long-term future as well, depending on how long he is, of course, there. But nevertheless, we're going to get into this video now and discussing Emi Buendia and his move to Aston Villa in this transfer window. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So first of all, as I said, what do we know about this current deal at this moment in time? He has moved for between 35 and 40 million pounds. In my opinion, obviously a lot of money for a player that was in the Championship last season, but in my personal opinion, I think a really good transfer for Aston Villa. His creativity last season in terms of his numbers and stats overall last season and in previous years as well has been absolutely unbelievable. He was second to none last season in chances creation in terms of the whole of Europe in the Championship last season for Norwich City last season in terms of the numbers of amount of chances he did create for his teammates, assists, goals. He has the lot. He's a skillful flair player. Not only that as well, but off the ball his work rate is top class as well, and really has that South American attitude from him off the ball as well. So in my personal opinion, Aston Villa get themselves an absolute steal of a transfer in my personal opinion. Looks like they took him up from under Arsenal's noses as well, which does of course you could say weaken a rival, and Arsenal really weren't at the races for this one. I mean, it did look like Arsenal were going to get him. They bid, allegedly anyway, £30 million. Then once it got rejected, upped it to £35 million. But Aston Villa just came straight in. No dilly-dallying, just came in, £40 million, Bob's your uncle. And now, of course, they have got their man in Emi Buendia. And as I keep saying, what an absolutely unbelievable signing this has turned out to be for Villa. And I'll explain why. So the reason I think this is an absolutely unbelievable signing, an unbelievable piece of business from Aston Villa's perspective, of course, is because the whole thing about Aston Villa and the reason why they performed so well last season compared to obviously the season where they marginally survived relegation in 1920 is because of that over-reliance on Jack Grealish. We've seen it from time and time again, to be honest, and even still we saw it once again when Villa dropped in form last season, of course, when Jack Grealish was out of the team with injury. Villa really dipped in the team. Of course, Ross Barkley looked to be that man who was going to take the pressure off Grealish and create chances as well as Grealish, and try and create chances for Watkins and those kind of players. But overall, for the second half of the season, Barkley really started to dip and it just didn't work out whatsoever. He's going back to Chelsea and probably will be shipped out to another club as well. And Buendia, of course, I think will give you a massive guarantee in terms of creating chances, and I think will take an absolute heap ton of the pressure off Jack Grealish, and to be honest, might even create more chances than Grealish, which will be very hard to do, mind you, but they're basically getting another Grealish, to be honest, but in a different way, Aston Villa, in terms of creating chances for Ollie Watkins, which of course is the main thing they look to do in this team, because of course scoring goals is the aim of football, of course. And I think now with Aston Villa going forward, they have a really balanced team. I mean, first of all, you go through Martinez in goal, a solid goalkeeper, the back four of Cash and Target, who are fullbacks, very good defensively and offensively as well. Mings and Konsa, obviously question marks over Mings, but two, pretty solid centre-backs in the Premier League. Douglas Luiz, John McGinn, then obviously, Morgan Sanson, who I think will have a big role in this Aston Villa team next season in that midfield trio, which obviously does give you a lot of balance going forward and defensively as well. And then the front three, you have Jack Grealish, you have Ollie Watkins up front, and now you have Emi Buendia. And even if you wanted to, you could drop Grealish or Buendia back into the number 10 role, take Sanson out, and move Bertrand Traore out onto the right, because Traore is a player I really like watching. He was at Chelsea back in the day, and of course, as you can tell, I'm a Chelsea fan, and I really like watching Traore back in the day. He's a really skillful player, likes to, free roam and just be able to create chances himself and just be as, expansive and expressive as he possibly can. And I think with the impact of Buendia, I think there'll be, not as much pressure on Traore to create chances and actually have that output. It will allow him to just be, be a free roam player and just be a luxury player to a certain extent. And don't get me wrong, I think Buendia and Grealish and even as well Traore in this team, I think Watkins is going to bang an absolute heap ton of goals in the Premier League next season. I'm not sure how much he got this season. I think it was around 10 to 12, but I think he gets minimum 15 goals next season, because Watkins is a really good striker in terms of getting into the right positions to score goals. He's an out-and-out number 9, pace, strength, really good finish as well. And even though I say a really good finish, he missed a lot of chances last season, but I think that's only going to get better. Aston Villa have a real good system going up front for the next few years, because Buendia is young, Grealish is young, yes, he may not stay for another few years, but even if he does, I think Aston Villa really have something going for them to get themselves into Europe. Watkins is young, Traore is young, so Aston Villa have a really promising future, especially in terms of creating goals and scoring goals overall in the Premier League, especially next season. I think in terms of Aston Villa, if they were to, strengthen more in the transfer window, because the transfer window isn't even open yet, and Aston Villa, you could say, have already completed their transfer business, because this is only really what they needed, was a player to create chances and take a bit of the burden off Jack Grealish in terms of creating chances for Aston Villa. I think maybe they need another centre-back to compete and just put a little bit of pressure on Tyrone Mings, because obviously, as I said in this video, there's a bit of question marks over Tyrone Mings. Definitely not with Ezri Konsa and the rest of the players I did mention. Maybe a bit more depth in terms of midfield, and obviously, you know, the two full-backs like El Mohammadi and Neil Taylor, who have both been released by the club, so obviously they will be looking for cover in those positions. But I think basically all that Aston Villa really need more now is just squad depth, to be honest, because their starting 11 overall is really, really strong and definitely worthy of getting a European place next season, in my personal opinion anyway. So yeah, all's well and good at Aston Villa, but of course, with the club that Buendia has left behind in Norwich City, where do they go from here? Because of course, he was the kingpin, the main guy in that team for the last few years, especially last season. He was absolutely unbelievable for them, and one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why they got back to the Premier League with such ease. And to be honest, obviously Norwich are missing their kingpin in the team, and the thing for them now is replacing Buendia. They have to get Buendia's replacement right, because if they don't, they could really struggle to score goals next season, Norwich. And yeah, to be honest, I think it could be a little bit beneficial in certain sense, because of course in that video yesterday, if you want to go and check that out, I analysed Norwich, Watford and Brentford and what they could do in the Premier League next season after gaining promotion from the Championship. Basically what I said in that video is the fact that it could be beneficial to, in a weird way, to a certain extent, for Norwich next season, with the fact that Buendia, obviously they were so reliant on him last season to create chances and obviously score goals. I think it could be a bit of a weight off their shoulders in terms of giving more of an equal outlook to this Norwich team, in terms of the fact that all the other players will be able to step up, and yeah, just making the team a lot more balanced and less reliant on one player could be healthy for Norwich City. But yeah, overall, I'm not saying by any stretch of imagination that's a good thing that Buendia is leaving Norwich, because obviously Buendia was an unbelievable player for Norwich, and you know, will be very much missed there no matter who they get in. But yeah, just a thought really that I think Norwich, I still think they'll be okay in the Premier League, to be honest, but they definitely need to reinvest in the squad now. They've made nearly £100 million in the last 2 years with the sales of Ben Godfrey, Max Aarons, who looks like he's going to leave, Jamal Lewis, and obviously now Buendia as well. So they will have made over £100 million probably if they do go on and sell Max Aarons now in the remainder of the transfer window. So they really need to reinvest that money in Norwich and get their transfers right if they want to have any chance of staying in the Premier League next season. But yeah, as I said, a massive signing for Aston Villa, a massive coup in my personal opinion, and yeah, Aston Villa will be one hell of a team to watch next season in the Premier League, and will of course score a heap ton of goals in my personal opinion, and of course will look to get that aim over the line of creating, or you know, qualifying for Europe next season through the Europa League. But nevertheless, that's where we're going to leave this video. Thoughts on this video down in the comment section below. Do you think Emi Buendia is as good a signing as I'm, you know, making out to be for, you know, Aston Villa next season in the Premier League? Let me know down in the comment section below if you disagree. And yeah, please leave a like on this video as per usual. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are looking to hit 1.7k subscribers on this channel as soon as you bloody well possibly can. So hit that subscribe button if you are new. It means more than you guys could ever imagine. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. So yeah, see ya.